Hey guys, Civilord here, back in with another action figure review, and today we're going to be wrapping up our looks at the Transformers Titans Return Deluxe Class Terracons question mark. I don't think that's what they're called, but it sounds freaking cool, so we're going to go with that, I guess. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but at any rate, today we're wrapping things up with the weakest link, I'm afraid. We have Skullcrusher. Cool name. Really cool name, but oh boy, this figure's got some issues. That said, this of course brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, as well as my good buddy wmpyr, who sent me all three of these Titans Return Deluxe Class figures we've looked at the past couple of days for Halloweeny, so please feel free to click the link in the description below. Head on over to his channel, give him a follow if you're into martial arts, horror movies, all kinds of fun stuff like that. A far bigger channel than mine. It's a wonder how we met in the first place. But at any rate, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Skullcrusher has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with the crocodile tail club thingy. I don't really know what this is meant to be, but you can take his little white pistol and plug it in to the end there. It's a very solid connection too, so hopefully I can get this in there. Messing it up. There you go. Kind of like Mind Wipe, his weapons snap together. Wolfwire didn't do that, but Wolfwire is still better than this guy. And speaking of which, I'll bring in old Mind Wipe. Sorry, I can't do the Dr. Claw thing every time. I'll do it once in a while now, but I don't want to jack up my throat. I'm not a death metal singer. I don't know how to do that without doing that. But, got both him and Wolfwire here. Wolfwire by far being my favorite. I mean, shocker, he's a freaking werewolf. And then Mind Wipe, second favorite. I mean, shocker, he's a freaking vampire bat. But, yeah, these guys look great together. However, individually, like I said, it's all about Wolfwire, then Mind Wipe, then Skullcrusher. We're going to talk about that right now. Just look at how warped that wing is. I might see if I can fix that, but I don't know. It's old rubbery plastic. I don't want to mess it up. But here's his headmaster. Wow, the little peg things I had messed up on this guy and Weird Wolfwire, whatever. There he is. Let's see, raise his arm up. Hello. Just a little goofy guy. Not for nothing, Skullcrusher, cool name. Why the heck doesn't he have a skull face? To me, that is a missed opportunity. Yeah, see, those snapping a little better that way. But at any rate, what are the issues with this guy, you might ask? Well, first of all, his head turns left and right, up and down a little bit, tilt side to side. That's fine. Shoulders really tight, like hinges here, and then he does have just like regular ball joint, so he does actually get a little bit of butterfly. So it's a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. That's kind of tight. He also has wrist swivel, essentially. He's got forearm twist. That's pretty useful. Then his hands will move in and out. Not the most useful. He's got a waist twist with a weird slot on his crotch. I don't know what that's for. But the problem with this guy lies in his legs. These are some floppy legs. This is definitely going to need the Kiki's magic. The hips are not the worst, but they're not great. Like, this is very, it just kind of droops. This one not so much. The thigh cuts are loose, particularly loose on this side. This is really bad. This one. This is probably the loosest joint on this whole figure, is that thigh cut. And then he's got the double knee joint. but the bottom knee is not the tightest, especially on this side. This bottom knee joint is very loose in comparison to the top one especially. So the top knee joints are fine. I would even say this bottom knee over here is fine. This one, not fine. This thigh cut, not fine. The hips, I could probably manage that, but this thigh cut and this knee joint being loose makes him a pain in the arse to stand. And that sucks, because posing this guy for this video, very, very difficult. And not for nothing, he doesn't have actual feet. He just has stumpy feet. So getting him to balance while posed is not an easy feat. No pun intended there. I will say he does have his crocodile head on his back. That kind of just flops around a bit, but that I kind of understand. Oh, no it doesn't. It snapped in. Okay. Hold the phone. It's supposed to go like this. I'm unsure. I'm not sure. Ah, there we go. It does snap in. I just didn't have it right. Weird. But at any rate, always nice to realize you messed up on camera, isn't it? But his upper body is solid. Waist down, that's the problem. And unfortunately, it is the legs, and you do kind of need those to stand. So he is very hard to stand. But like I said, there are ways to fix that. It's just, I don't have the means of doing that at this current time. So standing him up as best that I can here. It's probably best to lean him a little far forward, because he does have a backpack and a half with that crocodile head just chilling back there. I'm also kind of bummed out they didn't make the crocodile head one of his weapons. I think that would have been pretty cool. They could have put the tail into the legs, made him a little more solid, but it is what it is, I'm afraid. Before we wrap this up, let's bring in our two regulars, Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith, and the infamous 11th Spawn, who as usual towers over everyone. But doth my eyes deceive me? Would Skullcrusher make a fine addition to the Men in Red and Black Club? I almost think he would. I think he's red and black, right? Right? A little hard to tell, but good for him, I guess. He has something going for him at this point. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and of the three Terrorcons, still not sure if that's what these guys are referred to or not. I have to say that good old Skullcrusher here is by far the weakest link of the three because of the looseness in the legs. I think I'm actually going to have to commission somebody to use the magical essence of Kiki's on this guy to tighten him up a bit, because those legs are ridiculously loose, making this guy practically impossible to stand and or pose from the waist down. It is freaking ridiculous how many times this guy fell over before I even got him to my review set. So that is an issue. But other than that, I still think he looks pretty cool. And let's be honest, there are way worse Transformers figures out there than good old Skullcrusher. So let's cut him a little bit of slack. Okay, people? So with that being said, before we wrap this thing up, why don't we move right along and take a look at his crocodile mode. And as promised, here we have good old Skullcrusher in his crocodile mode. At least I think it's a crocodile, not an alligator. Crocodiles have very kind of short snouts in comparison to alligators who have very long snouts. That's how I tell the difference, but you know, I'm not Crocodile Dundee or anything like that, so I really wouldn't know. But bringing in his compatriots, we have Weird Wolf / Wolf Wire and Mind Wipe, the Vampire Bat. And as you can see, if I tilt the camera up, Skullcrusher is rather small in comparison to these two. Probably not accurate in terms of the animal kingdom, but it's Transformers. They don't operate by those rules. You just look at Beast Wars. Freaking Rat Trap is humongous compared to, well, all of them. Getting these two out of the way. And back down to Skullcrusher. So we can take a look at his articulation. He's got a really good ball joint in the head, of all things. His mouth does open. It's a little tricky to get. Oh, there we go. So you can't open it. It's actually the top that opens, not the bottom. Then he does have a tongue in there. I don't know if the tongue moves up. I don't think so. But there you go. Is his head like rubber? Like the whole thing? Just seems like some of the teeth are. Yeah, he's got a plastic head, I think, but his teeth are rubbery. Interesting. And then his little arms do have a little bit of posability, but nothing to write home about. But his tail does swing back and forth and pop off. Freaking bozo. There we go. And unlike Mindwipe, he does have pretty decent weapon storage on the bottom of his tail. Mindwipe, you can't really store his weapons anywhere, so I just left them off. But at any rate, that's gonna do it for good old Skullcrusher here. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.